is your announcer, Al Gunby, welcoming you back to our Radio on the Air special 90-minute presentation of John Buchan's exciting action adventure, The 39 Steps.
My rage at letting these men clap me up so easily set me going. I stomped about the room, unable to sit in what dim light was left from that drafty roof. I examined all of its contents thoroughly, only immense of dust-laden feed sacks and a scattered lot of useless debris. I'd almost given up when I noticed a large drawer, nearly obscured by a stack of shingles. It had been positioned in the wall below the level of the ground outside. This was just how we kept our letonite cool in the veld. A very powerful mining explosive. We used letonite nearly every day. It was an odd chance, 1 in a million, but I'd earned some change of luck. I pulled it open, and at first found nothing. But far in the back, far enough that I had to remove the drawer entirely and slide it down onto the stone floor, was a separate compartment, and in it were the very things I needed to make a bomb. This was very old hand for me, and in 5 minutes I had the device built and pushed into a crevice under the old door sill. Not bothering to calculate any chance I might have of surviving the blast, I quickly unrolled the fuse line from the detonator to the most distant corner of the room. With the pocket lighter they had not bothered to take from me, I lit it and rushed the other side of the grain pile. The ancient, dried-up line burned so fast that the blast hit me before I could get well dug in. The explosion was a monstrous thing, but I eventually recovered consciousness. And then the smoke and ash had settled about me, but I did not move, however, as the shock wave had rendered my muscles and nervous system useless. Only much time later did I find that I could lift my head and look around. Before me, a great hole had opened up out to the Scottish moors, bringing with it the most welcome breeze. And suddenly, I felt a sharpening sense that I needed to get out of there fast. Either my jailer had gone away with Carstairs, or he had remained behind too close to that heavy door. That small army of police would be far away, and my unrelenting enemy Carstairs might well be returning even now. It's unclear just how I managed it, but sometime later I found myself tumbling into the bitter cold lade of the ruined mill. I stayed there but a moment, for I knew I would surely freeze. And in a short time, most of my faculties and a good deal of serious pain had returned to me. Dragging myself down into what was left of the moldy, dank lower mill room, I found myself once again burrowing like some rodent deep into a rotted heap of grain, where I awaited what fate might befall.
Henny! Henny! Henny!
Serafina?
Where the devil are you?
Send that flash over here.
Why on earth are you down here?
Thanks. It's good to see you, too.
Look here, this won't do at all. Well, let's see. Not a good time to be out on the road, so it appears we need to stay here for the night. I know. Let's try the roof. Well, there's not much left of it, but I'll bet there's a spot there that will hold us.
Well, actually, you see...
Oh, you have a better idea, I suppose? Well, what then?
Well, let me explain.
Oh, it is lovely up here in the moonlight.
I doubt all that light is helping us any.
Poppycock! Why would you say that? Typical to take the short view. Listen, for now we must hide, correct? So that means darkness is good, bright light is bad, right? Of course, you are a man after all. But just look at the deep shadow we've got here behind this corner parapet. It couldn't be blacker because of that bright moon. So, quite the contrary to your statement. Here, on this open roof, we are provided with precisely the concealment we require.
Oh, now, wait a minute. That's not what I meant, and you know it.
Well, anyway, I've been making some interesting discoveries, and even come to a few conclusions regarding our little black book.
all ears.
Hardly. In spite of my nice dressing, I doubt you'll be using those ears for much of anything for a while yet.
I can hear you well enough.
And I'd say that's an excellent way to leave it for now. To me, that is. And, of course, to hear me better, you'll have to stay quite close, won't you?
This time I thought it best to say nothing.
Oh, and hey, here, look at that. Wake up.
Oh, I feel like a lorry fell on me.
Yes, quite. Look.
You brought a spyglass?
I keep it in the boot of the car. Use it quite a bit, really, when I'm up here on these jaunts in the country. Here, take it and look over there, up on that hill to the southeast.
Well, it works very well. Oh, I say. Look at that.
Yes, that ringed wall of trees over there, that broad, flat oval of green turf. Why, it looks for all the world like a great cricket field, doesn't it?
Or an aerodrome. This accounts for the sudden appearances of that damnable Bristol aeroplane.
Quite. And a well-hidden secret air...
So that's Carstairs' game.
I should think it took quite a bit of doing to clear all that lot. And there's a rather fine tower at the far corner in the field.
Months, I say, or perhaps a good deal longer. Years. Archaeologist indeed. Good Lord, he's been doing construction surveys around here.
Sophia was still puzzling it out herself in the book. That's one of the things I was going to tell you last night, but, well, it is better, actually, to see the thing in the morning light, don't you think?
Well. What else did you get from that book?
Ooh, time enough for that when we get to Crewe, don't you think? And Sir Walter?
Yes, for certain. We need to get down from this roof and on the road immediately. Those farmhouse lights that just came on over there belong to our friends, and that aeroplane has already all the light it needs for a takeoff. An observer with a telescope could survey the wide blue sea in 3 directions from that airfield's tower. Now, tell me, what else have you concluded from Sophia's book?
Well, first, did you know that the Black Stone is what they call the last remaining cornerstone of the ancient Muslim temple in Mecca? It is literally the one object toward which all Muslims in the world, some 200 million people, are compelled to bow several times a day. I suspect our friends have co-opted the name as a sort of a symbol of their own godlike aspirations.
I see. Interesting.
We are speaking of some major egos here.
Yes, well, I just met up with one of them. Anything on that reference of hers on the high tide?
Yes. I had quite a lot of time there in Lockerbie to think about what those ciphers might be trying to tell us. I finally concluded that the high tide, along with all the other gen, must be an escape route of some sort.
I see what you're driving at. A high tide that would ensure access for a launch to a beach somewhere, so Carstairs could abscond with his secret information to an awaiting vessel. A submarine, perhaps.
Yes, exactly. In any event, that set me thinking of beaches. And then, considering the time she specifies, 10:17 p.m., I decided to snatch up the Admiralty Maritime tide tables from the Lockerbie Library and have a look.
And?
Oh, I found little of significance until I noticed that only on the East Coast were there high tides between 10 and 11 o'clock on the night of the 15th. And most of these were vacation spots in Kent that nearly anyone could rent. And they all had high cliffs along the shore.
I was impressed with this sudden flow of speculation, though I remain skeptical of the jumps and line of reasoning. Cliffs?
Yes, cliffs. That would require the residents to use staircases to go down to the beach.
Staircases? Ah! Steps! The 39 steps!
Yes, alas! Our 39 steps may be just that, literally steps. Of course, it's quite likely the most absurd and utter nonsense.
Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Not really.
Not really?
I mean, You have been busying yourself.
Damn straight I have.
By late afternoon, we were approaching the tall beechwood groves, lush meadows, and slow, reedy creeks of Sir Walter's Crew cottage, and none too soon. I had slept badly that night and could not sleep now. I was again stiff as a board, and my head throbbed fiercely.
Not long now, Hannay. Oh, your Scotland air is more brisk, I dare say, but it's sweeter here. And these limes and chestnuts and lilacs, oh, they're in full bloom. In another life, I did quite a bit of angling around here with my father. Oh, he loved it. He and Sir Walter fished together here as children. They hardly saw eye to eye politically, but they had remained friends all through their Eton and Oxford days. Oh, a spot like that one over there where the stream is flowing through that snowy field of buttercups. Oh, that would be heaven for us.
I didn't catch much of this as I drifted into a most pleasant nap.
Good evening, sir. I am Ainsley. You will come this way.
A very old, officious, but not unfriendly butler led us to our rooms. First Seraphina's, then mine, a good deal further down the way.
Sir Walter thought as how you, sir, would be needing these. Dinner is in half an hour.
Laid out on the bed were a new suit of clothes, shirts, collars, ties, and all in my size, a complete outfit, and a shaving kit, hairbrushes, and a shiny pair of patent leather shoes. But I simply collapsed onto the pile and fell immediately into an exhausted sleep.
Oh, my boy, come join me. We'll be eating quite soon. I'm afraid Seraphina's been called away again by her sister on some business or other.
Yes, indeed. That I will, sir.
Here, young man, let me pour you a cup.
Oh, well, thank you, sir.
It's Sir Walter. But now, Hannay, as soon as you've broken your fast, a clearly irrelevant expression in your case, as I hear you missed your supper, you must tell me the story which Eloise regards as a most urgent matter for me to hear. Something about a chap named Carstairs? For now, however, let us sit and enjoy a taste of Hiram's finest full English and take some more strong coffee. Well, yes, you do seem to be, in fact, onto something here. As it happens, I've had dealings with Miss Jenny myself. She's done us some services in the past, and I recognize her handwriting in this book of yours. We need to get the Yard involved in this immediately.
Yes, sir.
Sir Walter.
Yes, Sir Walter.
Welcome to Scotland Yard, Mr. Hannay. We've been wondering what happened to you, but of course we've long since dropped you from our suspect list.
You have?
Oh, of course. Now, Sir Walter, are you quite certain of this date, June 15th, and the time, 10:17 p.m.?
Yes?
Well, that gives us just 3 more days, and I'm afraid we have nothing at all on you, Mr. Carstairs.
Just an alias, no doubt. Now then, gentlemen, it happens that I have a most important ministerial meeting tonight at my house in Mayfair. Been planning the thing for ages, and it looks like all this Carstairs business could affect its outcome greatly. So, questions, McGillivray, you'd best ask them now.
Of course, Sir Walter. Well, what more can you tell me about the man and his mission?
And from what we've been able to decipher, the 39 steps and this particular high tide appear to indicate a specific landing location for Carstairs' escape in Kent.
That is, once he's completed his mission, of course. Destroying our navy, indeed. Come now, Hannay, how could such a thing be possible? Surely Mr. Chenier has got it wrong somehow. But look here, McGillivray, if this book is at all real, then we cannot in any case allow this man to get away, whatever the devil is here for. Now, there must be a staircase with exactly that number steps along those cliffs somewhere.
Well, that at least we should be able to find out for you, Sir Walter, immediately.
sir, and Mr. Hannah is sitting in the back parlor.
Good, good, Hiram. See about a glass of Shivas for him, will you?
Of course, sir.
If I may ask, Sir Walter, what is the purpose of your meeting tonight?
Well, you may ask, but I can only say that it has to do with the disposition of the ships in preparation for this damnable war. Now, if you will just wait back here by the door for Miss Dunnamede, I've told her to return by this way, not later than 8 o'clock. I'll want you both available, should we need you.
Supposed to be in all his Royal Navy finery.
First Sea Lord, of course, Fletcher.
It most certainly was not.
Of course it was. Everyone knows Fletcher.
I'll grant the resemblance, but that was not Fletcher. We Dunnamedes have had our own dealings with the man on several occasions, and that was not him.
Suddenly, it was as a veil had been lifted. Good Lord, now that you mention it, there was somewhat of a surprise in those eyes when he glanced my way. Yes, now I'm certain of it myself. I know exactly who that man was. Carstairs. Without hesitation, I threw open the meeting room door and dashed in.
Your whiskies, sir.
Thank you, Hiram. Here, honey, your whiskey.
Thank you, Sir Walter.
Now, listen. This is nonsense, honey. Fletcher sat right beside me in there for the better part of an hour. He hardly said a word, but certainly never took notes of any kind.
No, Sir Walter, that was not Fletcher. You should place a call to his home immediately. I'll wager he's there, and he certainly was not here.
Really now, this can't be right. I mean, good God, what if the man has a photographic memory? I have just spoken to Fletcher. Oh, had him out of bed and very grumpy. He knew nothing of this meeting.
Carstairs has planned this very carefully.
The selection of Fletcher alone shows this man's acumen. None of us present would have thought to speak to him about it during the week. We just all assumed that Fletcher would be here. Look, honey, those plans we spoke of in McGillivray's office to stop Carstairs, you must get to Kent immediately.
Yes, Sir Walter, I'll leave tonight. McGillivray is there already.
But first, I want you to brief every man in that room. Tell them everything you told me. I will need to make some important phone calls.
One thing, Sir Walter, with any luck, we still know more about his escape intentions than he suspects.
Perhaps, but in any case, you'd best get to Kent as soon as you can.
Certainly, Sir Walter.
I still can't quite take in all of this. Our Navy, really seriously compromised. Why, if that information on those maps and charts should ever reach German hands, the consequences would be unimaginably catastrophic.
Well, Hene, have a seat. Pleasant train ride, I trust. Glad you could join us so late. Barman, 2 fingers of Glenlivet over here. Neat. Our treat, Hene. On the yard.
Well, thanks, McGillivray. I could use a drink about now.
Oh, yes, indeed. Sir Walter telephoned, caught us up on events.
Why, yes, thank you, barmaid. Alice, yes. Let's just hope I can recognize him.
Well, now, tomorrow's the day, and we've got a rather full night's work ahead of us. Let's nick this cheeky bastard. Right then. Here's to plain speaking and clear understanding, Hene. Drink up. They call it Trafalgar House. Now, my men have been watching these 2 fellows for the last couple of days. Strictly field glasses, of course. You don't want to spook them. Here, have a look.
Any sign of Carstairs?
Well, Mr. Appleton, the lessee for the past few weeks, arrived early by cab. He'd been away for a few days. The man was properly decked out in his straw bowler, blue blazer, and slacks, and lugging the most beautiful leather bag of golf clubs. Now, he He's our man, all right.
You know, this place would be the perfect vacation spot for half the families in England.
An excellent choice for a discreet, unnoticed wait. And that's the staircase there along the bluff.
Ah, the 39 steps themselves. And everything else matches too?
Oh, yes. And I must say they couldn't have made things any easier for us. A more typically British middle-class lot you've never seen.
Your serve, old man. Terrific volley, that.
Well, it was, wasn't it? this is opening my pores a bit, what? Best way to hearty appetite for an old fool like me. Hard exercise.
Don't overdo it, Uncle. Let's see now. That's 40 love, if I haven't missed my bet.
40 love, yes, but I'll be losing ground soon enough, Percy, if you keep this up.
They are very good at disguising themselves.
Yes, as it happens, I've had quite a few dealings with this sort. It's all in the atmosphere they create, you know.
Atmosphere?
Well, they play up to their surroundings. They're profs, as if they'd never been out of them.
I'm not following you.
A fool tries to look different, clothing and wigs and hair dye and beards and such. But the one who knows his business, he'll look exactly the same, but he is different.
I just looked at him stupidly.
Yeah, don't feel bad. I've had years of this. It's a central premise of theater, really. If you're playing a part, you'll never keep it up unless you convince yourself you are it. And after a while, with these birds, they can turn it on or off at will to quickly move from one situation and identity to another.
Given my own unsuccessful experience as Ned McPherson, I wasn't all certain just how and why it managed to work for them, but I didn't want to let on. Well, of course, I guess it's like anything else, juggling or pickpocketing. It's in the gift, in the skill.
And in the practice, Hene, it takes them quite a lot of time to get it just right.
I see what you mean.
Now, beyond that lighthouse is the Ariadne. I just came in last night. We're maintaining our distance, but keeping a ruddy, close eye on it.
Ariadne. the Cretan princess who betrayed her country when she helped Theseus destroy her father's fleet.
You know, they seem to know that we're onto them. Wouldn't it be a bit too risky to proceed? You'd think that they'd have changed their plans.
Well, we're in no position to assume that. It may be that it's too late for them to change them.
Well, you could be right, of course. In any case, we must carry on with our own plan. Are you quite ready, then?
Ready as I'll ever be. To be honest, I'm terrified of them. But you know, McGillivray, my humiliation out there on the Scottish moors and the arrogance of Carstairs have put me in a proper fury to carry on.
We've got our watches set. Here, you'll be needing this.
A Bobby's whistle?
Oh, it'll do in a pinch. Just don't wait too long to use it. Right. My men are placed and ready. Shall we get on with this?
Good evening. My name is Richard Hannay. Is Mr. Appleton about?
He is that, old fellow. He is that. Come in, come in.
The rather large, jovial man who opened the door left me to wait in the neat hall that was filled with golf clubs, tennis rackets, straw hats, and caps. And in a short time, I was shown into a smoking room that seemed as orthodox as an Anglican church. Before me, seated at a high-polished, immaculate leather-topped desk, was another old man entirely, in no way whatever resembling the one I'd met on the moor, or Lord Fletcher either, for that matter.
Well, may that you wish to see me. I'm an old man, but I think I'd remember if we'd met. Mr. Hannay, is it? And how may I help you?
My fury abated instantly, and I felt suddenly quite unsure of my purpose in that strangely unremarkable room. Nevertheless, I attempted to stay on mission. I think you know we've met before, and the nature of my business here.
Indeed.
I have come to tell you, Carstairs, that the game is up. I have a warrant for your arrest.
Carstairs, arrest? Good God, what for?
For the murder of Sophia Zachenye in London on the 23rd day of last month.
I've never heard the word Jane.
Just then, the man Percy, pouring himself a generous whiskey, poured a second glass and carried it over to me, gesturing amicably.
Careful whiskey. I say, Uncle, isn't that the name of the Portland Place murder victim that we read about?
Oh, no, really, you must be mad, sir.
Where the devil do you come from, then?
Scotland Yard.
But I just don't...
Oh, don't get flustered, Uncle. It's a ridiculous mistake. Remember, that was the day of Agatha's wedding. We were all in Brightwalton.
Oh, my, yes, of course. Oh, mistakes can happen. How Agatha and Charles, she's my granddaughter, you see, how she will chuckle at this.
Now, see here, Mr. Anay. We will be very happy to do anything in our power, of course, to assist the authorities. But you must see the utter absurdity of... Well, I mean, this is too much.
Yes, by Jove, yes, Mr. Hannay. I really should be angry with you, but it is just too funny.
No, Uncle, you mustn't excite yourself. Here, drink this.
I stood there once more feeling like a perfect ass. My heart had dropped into my boots, and my first impulse was to simply apologize and clear out. This couldn't be the acting McGillivray had spoken of. What had I done to these poor, simple folk? I'll be the laughingstock of Britain. But I stuck to our plan and did exactly as McGillivray had directed. I walked over to the door and I switched off the lights. And after 2 seconds, I switched them back on again. And in that instant, I saw the old man's hand twitch at his cigar and his eyes hood slightly as he suddenly glared my way. That was just how Carstairs had looked in his chair on the Moore farm.
My dear fellow, what on earth are you doing?
Oh, don't think the shadow hasn't been lifted, Carstairs. I'm for what you are, as plain as day, now just as you were there on the moor.
Phew, look at the time. I'd better think about catching my train.
And somehow I'm quite certain that it was your knife, Percy, that did away with poor Miss Zachenye.
Oh, damn, won't you stop all that rot? I've simply got to go, you know. My old lady will be expecting...
No, you must stay.
Really, I'm sorry. Let me give you my address in Southwark, and you can have all the security you'd like.
I'm afraid not. And now I think it's time for this.
You have failed, Henny. We are triumphant. The Blackstone will still be in the victory crown. Avida Sen, or you English.
Suddenly, Carstairs leapt like a cat for the open window, screeching like a man possessed.
The Sieger's crown! The Sieger's crown!
In the same moment, Franz, or Percy, was on me with a vice-like grip around my waist. An instant metamorphosis had occurred. Carstairs was through the window in a flash, and before McGillivray's men could act, I was onto the staircase and down to the beach. Franz threw me to the floor and suddenly lunged at another switch near the corner of the desk. A great rumbling followed that came from far below the ground. And through the open window, I saw a tremendous cloud of chalky dust rising where the staircase had now become an empty shaft. When Franz screamed ecstatically,
He is safe! You cannot follow him! He is gone! Der Schwarzenstein ist in der Siegerskrone!
A white, fanatic passion had burned in those eyes, and I realized for the first time what frightening creatures I had been up against. McGillivray, what now? The staircase, it's gone.
Relax, Hene. Our work is done.
Done? What do you mean?
The stair is no matter, Hene, now. Well, Franz, I hope your man Carstairs, or name he bears, has exulted in his moment of triumph, for it has passed.
What do you mean, past?
You should know that your ship, the Ariadne, has been in Scotland Yard hands for the last hour.
We'll return to the conclusion of the 39 steps in a moment. But first, this is your Bulova host, Al Gunby, with a reminder. Special events call for special gifts, and one of the most important of these events is retirement. Nothing acknowledges the completion of a satisfying and rewarding career like a Bulova watch. Its unmatched combination of precision, style, and performance will last a lifetime.
When I retired after 38 years with his company, Mr. Bronstein himself presented me with this beautiful Bulova Westfield watch. And now, whenever I look at it, I remember with a smile the good times and all the fine friends I made there.
So, to reward a working life of excellence, give the lasting gift of appreciation, Bulova. And remember, for any special occasion, give the world's finest timepiece, Bulova, gift of a lifetime. To choose the perfect gift, just remember this rhyme. When something happy happens, it's Bulova watch time. And now, back to our conclusion of our exciting adventure, the 39 steps.
3 weeks later, as all the world knows, we were at war.
You look rather well in an army major's uniform, Hannay.
Well, thank you. And you, I must say, are the picture of loveliness today.
Oh, damned busy place, Paddington.
You know, I've never thanked you adequately for everything you did to help me.
Nonsense. You'd have worked it out, the book and all, well enough in the end, but glad I could be useful, Hannay.
Now, wait. What are you trying to say?
Come on, Hannay. Don't you see? This is it. For the two of us, anyway. This war has done for us. And in spite of the rumors, it's not likely to end soon.
No, Serafina, at all. And aren't you rather underestimating me and my mates?
No, Hannay. But I fear that you are all underestimating the witness of history, that no war has ever been definitive.
Good Lord, this really has got you down. I mean, someone has got to stop the Kaiser, but now that doesn't mean it's the end to anything between us. After all...
Look, quite soon you'll be off to France. And I'm about to grow old as a spinster registered nurse, most probably, in some nameless village in the North Country. We won't be seeing each other again, my friend.
What? Why, that's just not true.
Isn't it? Listen, I must tell you that Angelina and I have had to split finally from Mother and Cordelia. They've gone all for this war of yours.
Split?
Yes, permanently, I'm afraid. So long as there was hope of peace, we women of Great Britain sought for peace. But we have another duty now. Let us show ourselves worthy of citizenship as we work to kindle the spirit of victory in the hearts of our fighting men. Long live England!
Bravo, Mother! I think you've got it.
Yes, Mother, I think you struck your bayonet right through it. Oh, yes, Cordelia, I believe you're right. I'll just go have Amanda type it up immediately. It seems Mother has decided to enjoy this war.
Well, it is more exciting than carrying those damnable banners through the streets.
As well have done a complete about-face on it.
What do you expect, Serafina? This is our country.
It's always been our country, ours and Mother's and Father's. But this war, surely you see as well as I do what the future holds? It is going to be devastating for everyone in it.
It's just part of the sacrifice we are all now called upon to make.
And we've never run out of sacrifices, have we?
What on earth do you know about war?
I know that now war's in the hands of industry, the banks, that on a much larger scale than ever before, armaments have become a major economic enterprise. gigantic motorized artillery wagons, cannon-mounted field trucks, aeroplanes with Vickers guns and bombs, soon leaving countless factories in endless lines.
Really, Serafina, this is no time for all that Emma Goldman doggerel.
But it is what she feared would happen. Barren war zones of landmines, mortars, poison gases, terror-filled, cowardly fields of destruction. Vast industrial profits exploiting the suffering poor and the helpless. And think on this. How can ending these wars ever be industry's benefit financially? Why, there is every reason, economically speaking, to expect this war to go on for another 100 years.
That's impossible. War is just war. It's always been that way.
No, it hasn't been. Not like this. Those battlefields of France and Germany, and maybe right here in England, will become great mud-covered wastelands filled with the skeletal hulks of war machines, with what's left of the youth of Europe tangled in the gears.
That's morbid, sordid. It's disgusting. You have no more experience of war than I have.
Well, I have eyes and ears, don't I? And I can see plainly what this war is going to be like to the soldiers themselves and to the other victims. And I'm not having any part of it.
Go then. Crawl into a corner where your miserable, cowardly friends are, if that's your choice. Mother and I are committed to the cause of defeating the Hun at all costs.
Cause? And what of the thousands of German boys who are mobilizing at this moment for their own cause, to free the fatherland from the vice-like grip of French and Russian aggression?
Nonsense! There is but one cause, the cause of Britain. The rest is drivel.
What you and Mother have never properly appreciated is the greater cause of peace. And God forgive you both for that, Cordelia. So you see, Hene, that means you and I are on opposite sides of the street now. We Dunamedes have been arguing against this war's coming for years. And now that it's here, Angelina and I, at least, are going to keep up the good fight against it.
You remind me of your father, speaking in Parliament.
Much like our father, we both, first and last, adamantly opposed to the tyrannies of vast wealth. No matter which empire the tyrannies seek to corrupt, the German or the British. But for the time being, we certainly won't be very fashionable. So I'm off to Cumbria for a while to help Dr. Anglos at a women's hospital. And Angelina is taking our good fight down under from now on. After here at Paddington, I'm seeing her off for Melbourne at King George's Docks.
You're quite serious. You have given this a great deal of thought.
Feeling about it, rather. The misery and the suffering. Oh, the overwhelming senselessness. I should like to believe, but I don't know that I can, that there might one day be more to my life than these battles of my own I'm compelled to wage. And I must say this to you, Richard. I can't begin to tell you how very much all this pains me.
I know you may not believe what I'm saying, Serafina, not now. But after this war, and there will be an after of some sort, I'm coming back, and I'll be looking for you, and wherever you are. And I won't stop until I've found you.
That concludes tonight's Action Adventure Theater special 90-minute presentation of The 39 Steps. Our story has been brought to you by Bulova, gift of a lifetime. Tonight's original radio play was adapted by Ken Jones from John Buchan's 1915 novel, The 39 Steps. In our cast, Charlie Birdsell played Richard Hannay, Diana George played Serafina Dunamede and Eleonora Dunamede, and Bigelow played Sophia Sejenyi, Dr. Eloise Anglos, and Cordelia Dunamede. Kevin O'Connell played Carstairs in all his disguises, McGillivray, the innkeeper, the Scotsman on the train, the policeman, and the butler. Sean Montgomery played the milkman, the staymaster, Reese, Percy, and Franz, and Al Gunby played Sir Walter Bullivant. The on-stage live sound effects were by David Bryant and Charlie Wise. The light booth operator was Tina Williams, and Stephen Lavoie provided our on-stage music. The director of our production and our recording engineer has been Ken Jones, and I have been privileged to be your announcer, Al Gunby. Tune in next time when Radio on the Air will bring you another fine story from our radio play archives. So for now, this is Al Gunby saying good night. This is the American Broadcasting System.